I remember everything like prior to my smartphone phase. Because
I
before I
remember
have to
my
remember
pager,
phone number.
333-2920.
Man, 29 me something.
The what? That was a pager?
That was my pager, 333-2920.
I don't remember my pager number.
Mine ended in
I don't
08.
you remember? You used to get a message, a little beep, and you had to go to a payphone, or use with the guy that had a little bit of money, or he was older than you. He had to give you his cell phone.
No, but do you remember how excited you were to get a pager? You're like, yeah, I got a pager.
I was 17 when I got mine.
You were cool. You had to call back.
You used to wear it on your belt, made sure you would tuck your shirt and when are you gonna finish the pager.
Yeah, just a pager. It's like I gotta go call. I gotta pay.
You would clip it in your pocket. Remember, in the front pocket, so the clip.
Yeah.
And welcome to another episode of Just Us Dads. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for joining another Dadversation. If this is your first time here, I do remind you to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Make sure that you don't miss anything in the future. Of course, like always, Chris is here. George is here. What's going on, guys?
Good.
Chris is always happy. There's always
a
relaxed side.
Always, baby. Always.
Just before we start, take a quick second to thank everyone for all the love and all the comments that we got from the previous episode. The previous episode was a very touching one. I got a lot of messages. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if anyone reached out to you.
No one.
Nobody? No, there you go.
Not even one.
I read every single one of those. Every 5 comments that I got. I'm all 5 of them. I read. No, but it was a great episode. I'm gonna link it somewhere so that you can.
All 5. So Prisuli, Sava, Burthi. Who else? Who's the 5th? Who's the 5th?
I don't have to go look back. George Baludakis. I think my aunt. I thought it was a great episode. We for those who didn't watch it, we paid tribute to our dads. And in general, it was a great episode. And one thing that came out of that episode, and I think it was just a bit before, where Chris was saying, it's weird for us guys to talk about our dads and be kind of not emotional, but kind of, I guess emotional is the right word. About our dads and to talk about them. And to talk about how much we love them and how much we think they loved us and everything that they've done for us. And the whole reason for that was that, guys don't do that. It's not like a normal thing for us to do. And I said that, maybe it's just in our culture. I'm sure in other cultures there's that love factor, right? And just before we started recording, George sent us a picture, or I think it was over the weekend, Father's Day weekend. You sent us a picture of a card that your boys made. And I thought it was a lovely card. I thought it was nice. And Chris just said, "Did you tell your kids how much you love that card? Were you open and expressive with your kids about the gift that you got? And it's funny, and that's and I think we should talk about that because Chris, you spoke about. And this is all in the text message. I mean, and I'm like, guys, man, stop sending messages. We won't have content for tonight, But in general, it's not about, us as parents being cheesy with the kids, but more, if I understood correctly, it's about, it's about understanding. And Chris used the red and blue pill, the reality. Explain to the kid what the reality is if they suck at something, or just hiding it, masking it, and encouraging them to just keep doing it, right? And so I thought it was interesting. So first, let's talk about the red and the blue pill thing, okay? Okay, Chris, take us through that. Obviously, the red and the blue pill that we're talking about, it makes reference to the Matrix, right? I mean, I think we've all seen the movie.
Yeah, it comes from the Matrix. I've never seen the Matrix, but I know that the blue pill, red pill is it's almost not a dilemma, but it's like a choice that obviously the red pill is you handle the truth. you take the red pill and you're exposed to truth, even though the truth could be devastating, could be hurtful, but you get the truth. That's what you get. The blue pill is you take the blue pill, and that's basically the blissful ignorance. So you're not exposed to any truth. So you're lied to, but it makes you feel better. So in a way, it's like one's more pragmatic and one is like kind of like a pseudo optimistic way of looking at things. So this is obviously very politicized, and this is very used when talking about a political realm. But I think it's also, you could put it in the context of children, because how many times does your kid draw something and it's totally disgusting? and what, so two things come to mind. The first thing is that, okay, should I tell him the truth, but I'm going to hurt his feelings? And maybe he's too young, so we shouldn't be hurting their feelings at that age. And the other thing is to just exaggerate and just say, oh my God, this is so beautiful, I want to cry, and you want to hug it. So obviously those two extremes are not good. But you got to think about it. If you keep doing one or the other, one, you're going to probably build somebody who could take the truth, but is probably going to have a very, I guess, I don't know, a heart of stone, right? Like very little emotion. And if you keep lying to somebody else, then you make them entitled and crazy, and then they won't handle anything. So you want to be somewhere in between. But it was just a joke. I just wanted to know how you guys deal with that, because I've experimented with it and I've done both, and I think neither works.
Look, the good thing about you is that you have one and one, right? You have a boy and a girl. And, you know, as soon as I saw the message, I immediately thought to myself, look, I have girls. I'm the cheesiest probably from all three of us. Or I mean, I'm in my house from the minute I wake up until the minute we go to bed. It's always like, oh, yay, good job. Oh, you're so cute and all that. Yeah, and obviously the youngest one is like 2 now, and she's like, you just want to eat her up, man. She's just so adorable. You can't be mean, right? So
for sure.
I'm in that bubble, right? With the older one, I am kind of in the middle. Like I want to encourage her, but I can't really relate because she doesn't draw that bad. Like she's pretty good. Like I mean, it's not a piece of art, but if you ask her to draw, you know, like a nice little scenery, she's gonna draw the house. She's gonna draw a little tree. She's gonna do the details. She's gonna have your clouds. Draw in the lines, and then sometimes she'll get original and she'll draw a plane. It doesn't really look like a plane, but when she tells you, look, it's a plane and it's flying, you're like, okay, cool. It's the closest thing to a plane that I guess a 5-year-old could draw.
It's an oval with 2 triangles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but she makes the little circles
for the windows
with the crosses in them, so you're like, okay, those are the windows, right? So there's that, and then the clouds, the tree. She's gonna draw grass.
But let's say it was something really, really ugly. Like
I don't know, because we're not there, so I'm waiting to see how the younger one's gonna be. Maybe the younger
you're right. You're lucky.
So, but again, it's just for me. I've been a dad for like 5, almost 6 years now. It's almost been automatic to kind of be cheesy. And I don't know if it's because they're girls, but on other things though, I am a bit rough on them. Like especially with my daughter. I can't think of a real a situation or anything, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't have an example to give, but in general, I'm a cheesy one.
Well, think about it. In general, you could apply this to everything. Yeah. The idea is do you tell them the truth and let them deal with it? Do you camouflage the truth for them to be forever in bliss but ignorance, right? In ignorance? Do you give them a little bit of a reality check? That's the whole idea, because that's what I'm saying. It has to be a balance. With the drawing, what I found that works for me is that I used to do that. I used to just see something and be like, oh my God, this is incredible. It's amazing. And I would hang it. And then I would look at it and be like, I shouldn't be hanging this, And it's fine. It's fine. But I think the applause and the appreciation should be for the effort, not the result. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think it has to be separated. It's congrats for the effort. I'm really excited for the effort. And you're trying to figure out why they did it. Why did they draw? What motivated them? What inspired them? And then you can kind of get a little conversation, and that's what's fun about it.
Yeah.
But I can't do it. Look, my son is 11 now, so he shouldn't be drawing, number one. And if it is, like he hasn't developed that skill. So I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? With the little one, you're right. Maybe the girls have more of a better touch.
She's better.
More of a
Like she's better than your son was at that age.
At that age, yeah. And you know what? It's true. You are a little bit more biased with girls because it's I don't know what it is. It's a daddy girl thing. It just the connection is different.
Yeah.
And obviously, you never want to hurt your little girl's feelings.
Yeah.
But it's just something to consider, man.
But I think I would still be like that, even if I would have boys. But look, I think the question is, at what age is it a good time to tell them, look, you're not so good. Just let's try something different. You know,
after grade 1.
Okay, so so that's what, around 7 years.
You have to keep in mind the age. This is the thing. You can't just sit there and criticize someone who hasn't developed all their dexterity.
No, you're not criticizing. I'm not saying you can criticize.
No.
And you're not giving respect. You're basically not putting the emphasis on the result, which is not pleasant.
Yeah.
You're putting the emphasis somewhere else, you know?
Like, I would feel like if my daughter drew, look, the little one, let's put her out of the equation here, because my little one, she's going to draw a couple circles and she's going to be like, meow, meow. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a nice cat. Like, there's circles. That's all she can do, you know? But I feel like if my oldest one would draw something that sucked, I'm not so sure if I'd be like, okay, look, that's not really nice. I'd be like, okay, look, let's draw it again. Let me teach you. Here, look, do a circle. That's the head. Then there's little triangles on top. And look, it's like little ears, right? And then you draw a little line so for the whiskers.
But guys, this is not limited just to drawing. This could be dancing. Right? this could be dancing. This could be trying to do sports. It could be anything. You have to be very careful how you encourage.
I try not to talk about the result much myself. I try to compliment them and commend them for the creativity and stuff.
Yeah,
for having great ideas and encouraging them to keep going with their ideas. Feel free to think what you're like to represent what you're thinking or what you're feeling. You know?
So what was like that the first reaction? So you get the card over the weekend.
You want me to show it?
Show the card. Yeah, if you have the card, show the card.
I have two. There's two. There's supposed to be cards, but I got a sheet from each of them. I usually get cards, but I got sheets this time. So first I got this one from my eldest. That's a heart.
Yeah, okay.
It's a terrible heart. But he cut it freehand. He didn't draw anything. He just cut it freehand. So it's not so bad. He's only 6. He wrote everything correctly. Bonne fête des pères, Baba. And he wrote his name and he put hearts across the bottom.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I got a sheet of paper. and if I show you what he's done for me in the past, this was not on the top of the list, man. This is not one of his better stuff. But I got the other one from the other guy after, which is this one. Look how bad that heart is. Look how bad that is.
Yeah, but he's like, how old is he?
He's 4.
He's 4, okay.
But he wrote Baba.
Okay.
He wrote his name in full here, Filipas.
Yeah.
And then he just went on a rampage with letters everywhere.
Yeah.
But he took the time to put flowers along the side. And I thought, like, these are all his ideas. Nobody encouraged him to do it. So he figured it's a card. I want to represent love. And he put a heart and he drew flowers.
But you know, at that age, what they're doing is that there's like basically blank paper. They just got to fill the space.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to leave any spaces at that age.
Absolutely. But he could have just made zigzags.
No, but you see, you appreciate the effort, the taking the time and doing it and being creative and not having any help.
But I recognize his creativity. Nobody told him to do that. You know?
Yeah.
There's some creativity to it.
Would you ever tell him it's ugly?
No. Not now.
No?
Not now. If he was 7 years old and he brought me that, I'd tell him to throw in the trash.
Well, now there's George. Now there's a recording of this. You know that, right?
I was happy to receive it. I never complained.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
they remembered me.
So, Chris, let's say you would have received those cards. Like, I'm just trying to understand, like, what the reaction would be.
No. Look, I'm like everybody else, man. I don't want you to think I'm a monster. I'm just saying that as he gets older, my kid, I'm trying to put this kind of thing more into perspective. Obviously, I started off like now I'm not going to hide it because now I'm at the level where I want him to work a little bit harder. So I want him to be able to face truths. Like, if you're not good at that, because we're at the point where, okay, how do you get better skills? What are your strengths, right? He's having an interview next week for high school. So we're into discussions of like, what are your skills?
Sorry? Interviews now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's a private school. You're doing an interview with the principal, and
wow,
and we get an interview as well. So it's not just, hey, you're not gonna just show a little thing and say, look what I draw, So they're talking about what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. They're gonna ask questions like, how do you see yourself in the school? What makes you different than everyone else? So we're at that stage. So right now, if he gives me a drawing, I'm gonna be real with him. Like if he asks me how am I playing, how was my soccer game?
Yeah,
you got to keep it real. So there's a method to do it, and I find it very, very interesting. It's called the sandwich method, right? So what you'll do is you'll sandwich the negative between two positives.
Right.
So you'll say, look, man, your speed was amazing, your form was great. You know what? Maybe try and taking a couple more shots on net. That would help out. And then, but overall, man, what a great game. So what you did is you just sandwiched that negative thing.
Yeah.
But you still got to keep it real. You can't just be delusional, because I find we do that to our kids a lot. And there's kids that grew up thinking that they're the best at everything, and then reality hits, and then the world hits harder than a parent's comment. So I just find you got to get used to.
And this is definitely something that that's the parents' fault. It's definitely the parents. I mean, if your kid grows up thinking, I'm a beauty queen, I'm a princess, I'm the best, I'm this and I'm that, and I need everyone's attention, that comes from home. Like that, I don't think a child can develop that on his or her own.
No, you're there to help.
Yeah.
You see, you're not there to help your kids. You're there to help your kids help themselves.
Yeah.
And you got to start with them not being delusional. And I remember just to get back to your question, when we saw the first piece of art that he presented to us, it was shocking, because I can draw pretty well, right? Not like I'm okay artistically.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what the hell was that? So we had like 2.5 hours conversation with my wife after that. It's like, what was that? Where does that come from? We didn't know how to handle it.
How does Alex draw? Is she good?
She's okay.
Okay.
She's okay, but it was like we saw it and we're like, I don't know, we felt discouraged. It's like, is this our kid? And then you figure out it doesn't really matter, right?
But how old was he?
Well, kindergarten, man. When they start, actually, no, before kindergarten, it was pre-K.
So then there's like this small window that you leave open. You're like, okay, listen, he's still young. Give him a couple years. We'll practice. We'll give him some crayons or whatever. He'll get better, and then it just.
Same thing with the drums, man. The kids started playing some drums.
Yeah.
And George can relate to this because his kids are picking up the drums now. But he started playing the drums. So as soon as he started playing the drums, he got reactions. People were like, oh, wow, you're playing drums. So that gave him a boost. That motivated him to play a little bit more. But the second it got a little tough, right? He couldn't continue. So this is where you got to keep it real. It's fine to play a couple of things and get applause for it, but then there's the next level.
Yeah.
And so you gotta that's the point where you gotta keep it real and say, hey, you gotta practice. If you don't practice, you're not gonna get to the next level. But I'm just about just exposing kids to that kind of
this is where I feel that it's a thin line as well. Like, I mean, if it's obvious, like, okay,
can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Won't their peers bring them back to reality? Kids are pretty mean. They'll tell you if you suck. You don't have to break their heart.
Yeah, but what Chris is saying is that if they
to what Chris was saying now, when he was referencing his son playing the drums, it's okay to stay at that level if you're still enjoying it. Because when he was playing drums, it was just a toy. It was a game.
Yeah.
He wasn't playing to be a musician. He was playing because, hey, I'm enjoying this.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with doing that, playing that level for another 10 years if it's fun for you.
Absolutely.
And in the process, your ear picks up a couple things. Your hands just naturally pick up a few techniques without even realizing you got them. And you go to another step when you feel like you want to learn more. But in the meantime, you had fun doing it. Did you put pressure on him? Did you scare him away from it?
Zero.
Okay. So he found other things.
Yeah. Well,
so it was only a game for him.
It was only fun because of the reactions, and it was like interesting, and it was different, and it was unique to him. Nobody else did it. But what I'm saying is that fun is good, and you could, you're right. Maybe 5, 6, 10 years of having fun. But I believe that how you do something is how you do everything. And if you don't teach the proper way of looking at things, like some things are more important than others, but everything's important. Everything matters. So if you just
But I mean, we have to point out that he started playing when he was 3 and he stopped playing when he was 6.
He stopped playing because he just stopped playing.
When he was 6.
Now, what I'm saying is that if he goes back to it, that's fine.
But he started when he was 3 and he stopped when he was 6, right?
I don't see it in terms of when he started and when he stopped. I saw it as
you can't say he's gonna treat everything like that for the rest of his days. Huh?
No, I don't see it like that, because for me, like it's fine. He could grab pans and play with pans. That's fine. I understand the leisure aspect, the having fun. I'm all for fun. It's just I don't see it that he started at 3 and stopped at 6. I saw it that the second we said let's get some drum lessons, we lasted 3 drum lessons.
Yeah, but that's not what he wanted with the drums. He didn't want to have lessons. He wanted to have fun.
Yeah, but you can have fun with playing toys.
When the person who's playing the instrument says to himself, "I'd like to mimic that I heard, and I can't do it on my own." But you only get there once you're what you've done with it during the process of enjoying it, and it lasts a while, and your mom loves it, and it's fun, and it keeps you busy. In that process, you advance in small increments to get to the point where you want to mimic what you hear. It's another level of inspiration. He never got there. You brought him to lessons, I feel, before he got there.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Like when you went for lessons, you were just killing it all the time. You were obsessed. You wanted to develop.
Absolutely.
I said, yeah, he has to make the choice to develop. You can't say it's time because you've been doing it for too long.
Absolutely. That's why that door is still open. But we're gonna go back to lessons when I see him playing drums more than he wants to play a video game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be like, okay, did you do your homework? Did you do your beats? Let me hear you hitting. Let me hear you knocking on that pad. That never happened.
Yeah.
When I started taking lessons, my parents were like, "Stop playing! I can't hear you. You gotta stop playing."
I was actually having a conversation with a parent at the park, and the person put his daughter in music lessons at a music school where you get to try one instrument a week, and and he's like, I don't know, she's not as interested as I was hoping. And I'm like, what did she ask you? Did she ask you for an extra teacher? Did she ask you to go to more school? Did she say, but Dad, I want to go to more school? So why'd you bring her to school? I told the guy. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, she wants to have fun. Buy her a toy guitar and let her sit on the couch while she's watching TV and just hold it, play with it, make noise with it, drop it, detune it, tune it, twist it, just to play with it and have an idea of what the functions are. And if you do different things, it makes these awkward different sounds, and they each have different purposes. And then when she feels she likes it and she wants to learn something, then you go for that. But let it be a toy. Let it be a toy for as long as it can be a toy, as long as it needs to be a toy.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I understand that kind of way of thinking.
People often make the mistake of, oh, my kid loves the guitar, I'm going to send him to lessons. Like, no. buy him a $50 used guitar and let him break it.
Yeah, let's do Fala. What do you think, George?
Look, I think just in general, because, and I want to go back to what you were saying about, being as honest as possible. And the question that I had was, like the line is very, very fine to the point where if you make that decision, are you going to kill something like that could potentially be a bigger passion?
No way.
You know what I mean? That's
I don't believe that.
No?
Look, sorry, wait. Let me rephrase. I believe there's a way to do it. So when I do it and I'll say something where it's like, I'll have that conversation. I'll be like, I said something that didn't make you feel good, right? Yeah. Why did it make you feel good? You know what? I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it to break your feelings. I meant it this way. Are we okay? Right? I'm going to be giving you my, you gotta, there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
You're not going to just sit there and start shitting on your kid. Like, I don't believe in that either.
No, it's
I'm not saying that.
No, I'm not saying about
the maturity too.
Let's say, for example, you put the
kid.
Yeah,
you're right. Sorry, George. What Panusa said. You gotta test the maturity. Like you kind of test it out. And if you see that it, like, okay, yeah, he kind of gets it, then you could go more. Like now we've done this many times, so now I know where to go with it. But at the beginning, it was a little experimental. You had no idea. It's trial and error. You're not sure how it's gonna go. But it's just being honest about it and having communication.
Because here's the thing. Let's say you put the kid in like in a sport. Okay, you put him in baseball or soccer. Okay, And he's still at that age, like George was talking about, where certain skills, you're at an age where you can't develop them more than the age permits, right? I mean, you can't run faster than you think you could, or you don't have the agility or the flexibility, or you don't have these things. And you as a father, because the kid at that point, like George was saying, he just wants to see if it's fun, right? It's not like, oh, this is soccer, this is exercise, this is good for me, let me develop my interpersonal skills in a team, blah blah. Like the kid doesn't think like that. The kid thinks, okay, there's the ball, let's just all run towards it. That's why when you see little kids playing soccer, it's like 20 kids just going in circles, they're all running after the ball. So but you as a father or as a parent, when you're looking at this and you're like, oh, I don't think he has it, I don't think she's got it, and like after that semester or whatever training session is over, you tell your wife, you know what, forget about next year, it's not going to happen. But you could potentially be killing something that could develop. I'll give you an example. We put my daughter in ballet classes. My daughter, from the minute we're talking about the older one, the minute she wakes up, she's always singing, she's always dancing, she's like making up stories, like she's always doing, like she doesn't stop. I have the keyboard that I said that my father-in-law bought for her. She has no idea how to play it, but she's gonna go turn it on, just act like she's singing, she's making up songs, like she's always just doing shit, like she's singing, dancing, hopping, inventing things, like that's her world right now. So I think it was last year or 2 years ago. We put her. I think it was last year. We put her in a ballet class, and I think we did it 2 years straight, 2 sessions straight, and she was okay. I mean, she wasn't bad.
Two sessions. You mean like
two semesters? Let's say whatever. I don't know if
6 months, basically,
years or whatever.
Okay, got it.
And she was okay, but at some point she was just not interested, and like I would see her, she's like, she wasn't following the group, and she was one of those kids that everyone kind of did the same thing, and she was off in the corner doing something else.
Yeah.
So as a parent, I was like, okay, it's cute, whatever, she's there. I could have been like oblivious to these things and say, oh yeah, look, she's in a ballet class, but I was with my wife and I was like, do you think she's enjoying herself? Like, do you think she's having fun? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Forget ballet, Nick. Forget it. Like I don't see it. But we made that decision, and sometimes I think back and I'm like, was that the right decision? Because I see her now and she's always expressive and she's dancing and she's hopping and she's singing and she I think she has a very big creative sense, And I was just thinking the other day, I was like, maybe should we put her back in ballet now? Maybe that she's older, she can follow better. Do we do it? Do we not do it? And we're there now. We're still debating. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't lose anything. You just put her back. You try it again. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if it works, it works. But it's just as a parent, you're constantly thinking, is she going to enjoy it? Is she going to like it? You know what I mean? I don't know. And it's not that they're at that age where you can have an honest discussion with them either, right? I mean, your son is older.
But do you guys agree? Do you and Joanna agree? Was that like a mutual agreement
to pull her out?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. I can't remember.
Can I elaborate? Can I say something about what you were saying?
This is what happened. We didn't pull her out. There weren't enough kids the following session, and they canceled it. And I remember telling my wife, "Thank God, thank God, because it wasn't us that pulled her out. That's what happened." So that's where we're at now, So I don't know, and of course, with everything that just happened this year, I'm not. I don't know. First of all, I'm not so sure if we would have put her back. But
is she bored?
I don't think she's bored. I don't think she gets bored at home.
Oh, so she's
all over the place, guys. It's like she's gonna. First of all, there's
something. There's gonna be that one thing that brings it all together.
Yeah, look, I know for a fact that she's very creative.
One thing, her creative side, she'll always be creative if she takes ballet lessons or not. So maybe
it's a creative / expressive. She's like in that phase, where she's gonna.
One thing I know about these kind of courses is it requires discipline. If she's not ready for that level of discipline, it doesn't mean she's not ready to do ballet ever.
She was okay because they did that last. They did a big show there at the end, and she was okay. She followed her class. She was pretty okay,
See, this is where I disagree with you guys, because you're right. If you start seeing it as a fun element, you're right. You want her to have a good time. You want her to go socialize. You want her to see friends. You want her to maybe start coming out of her comfort. But like I said, how you do something is how you do everything. And the little lessons early on, if you show her that every time it's a little uncomfortable, every time she's not enjoying herself, she can quit. Every time it gets a little tough, I could just abandon. It just, like, I'm not saying once is going to be catastrophic, right? I'm just saying that if you do that over and over and over again, you're kind of saying something to the brain. And then every time there's a little bit of a tough bump, you don't want them quitting just because. No, you know what? You said it, George. It's discipline. And discipline is part of life. And repetition is the mother of all skill. So somewhere you got to start teaching them that, yeah, you got to do it. And even if it doesn't feel good sometimes, you got to keep doing it. Because what you want is you want to get the gratitude later, right? You want to get the gratification later.
You're 100% right. It's just that if the parents are putting them in the course without the kids saying, put me in the course, the kid's not dropping anything. You never asked to join.
No, but don't forget, they're at the point where they're so young that you're kind of making the decisions for them. They're never going to come out and tell you, I feel like doing this, I feel like doing that.
I get it, but that's also you deciding whether they're ready or not.
Yeah, it's true. And you're not going to get this right. I'm not saying I'm right on this. I'm just saying that
I have a good example.
Yeah.
Like my son, up until this, he was doing martial arts for 3 years, from the age of 3. And I said to myself, the first year, I don't care. I'll keep paying. If he's willing to keep coming, I don't care how bad he does. I'll just make it repetitive. And then the second year, it wasn't that much better, but it was less challenging, like to get him there, the shyness, all these kind of things. And then by the third year, they put him in an advanced class, older group, where the guy's impressed, belt after belt after belt. But I had to accept that he was going to be bad at the beginning and just make it consistent that we always go there. That's where we go on Saturday. That's where we go on Tuesday. That consistency, it just created a pattern in his brain that he follows after without me needing to say. I didn't have to take any part of it. It was just between him, his instructor, and the kids who are watching him around him. That consistency did build something. I didn't get discouraged. I didn't stop taking him.
Because
that was go ahead. No,
because later on, what you're saying is that, look, your kid's a little bit young, but you're going to see it at a point that if it's all right to quit, if it's all right to stop, it's going to happen with homework. It's going to happen with anything that has to be done. If they feel that they could stop at any time, they will. And then they're going to give you a hard time.
Another example now.
Yeah.
My other son, I brought him for one session. I brought him for a second session. It was a disaster from the first minute to the last minute. Where the instructor said, I'm sorry, he's not ready for this. It's not for him. Don't bring him back. So and I know what it is with him. He can't stand waiting in the line for his turn. And it drives him nuts.
But you can work on that. That's a detail.
No, I know, but he just couldn't do it. But he's not into it. He doesn't love it enough. He doesn't love it enough to wait for it that long.
We tried the karate thing, and I tried it mostly so that we can instill some discipline, because over there, I mean, even there were kids. She was like 2 years old or something. She could barely walk. No, actually, she walked well, but I think she was 2 when we started. And the instructors there, even at that age, the kids weren't listening. They would take them, put them in the corner. And I was like, hey, this was good. I didn't have a problem with that. And I remember the first year, the parents were with the kid. Like I had to buy another uniform, and I was with her. She was okay, but there too, man, her attention span was like really like not there. It was good for like 10 minutes, maybe. Not even. You know what I mean? And then after that, it was just. She was just all over the place, But just to get back to what you're saying, Chris, we didn't pull her out like in the middle, like halfway. We're like, listen, you're gonna do the whole year. It's gonna be hard, but we're just not gonna sign you up again, the following year. That's it.
Yeah, and it's fine. It depends how you see it. Like, look, Yerasimo did Taekwondo for a long time. And he was pretty good. Obviously, this was overridden by soccer. Soccer's the thing now, right? Maria, we had her in ballet. She loves it. She loved going there. Obviously, with COVID now, we stopped all sessions. But with soccer, just to give an example, with soccer now, he plays in two teams. He plays with Panelinos and he plays with Puma. And he goes and represents Canada and Spain. We're supposed to be in Spain this April. Everything got canceled because of COVID, but it will be a second time playing there. At that level now, it's competitive. So you know what? You need to have the conversation. If you stay in the team, you got to work. If you don't feel like you're having fun, we got to get off the team, because it's not about having fun anymore. Now there's a team that depends on you. Right. So now it's like, plus you're growing. So every time you grow an inch, every time you grow, you get a year older, your body changes. It's almost back to square one. Your muscles are developing. Some people grow a little bit awkwardly. So you're constantly learning. And then there's a coach, and then you got to show up on time, and you have your uniform, and so once you start going in that kind of level, you can't just quit. You can't, it's not okay. You'll quit if you really hate it. I'm never going to push you, but I'm going to be there to remind him that why he signed up.
Yeah.
And it can be easy, because quitting is easy. That's the easiest thing you can do. You just stop doing it. But what kids don't understand is that they can't wait long enough to see the benefits. Yeah. So that's when a parent has to be there just to keep that. Obviously, guys, I agree. If they're not having fun and they're being miserable, right? You don't want the world to be a dismal place for them. You don't want them to hate every time they have to go somewhere and they hate it. Forget it. You pull them out.
Yeah,
but you got to at least try.
What's interesting for you is that you have a kid that's at that age where you can actually have a serious discussion, right? Where you can sit down and say, okay, look, why do you not like it? What is it about it? And it's not going to be just like, oh, I don't like it.
But it didn't start like that. It started with quitting is not an option.
Yeah. No, but it reaches a point where your kid voices like an interest or a disinterest, for example, and he tells you, "Oh, I don't know, man, soccer. I'm not interested. I don't want to go again next year." Like, if you see that he has the potential, like he's had already. I mean, it's not, they don't take just anyone in these teams, right? So obviously the kid has some talent that has propelled him in those levels. So tomorrow your son comes to you and says, "You know what? I'm done with soccer." Because you've seen that progress, and because you, having played soccer, you know what's considered good and what sucks, because you've seen guys that shouldn't have ever been on the pitch. You know what I mean? Aren't you going to sit down and say, look, okay, what's the problem? Like, what is it about soccer that doesn't click? Like, you're lucky that you're at that age where you can have that one-on-one, quasi.
And it's still not like the communication. Sometimes it's one way. I'll communicate something and it won't come back, or it's going to make sense in a month from now.
Yeah.
Right. But like, he has a coach for the agility, the athletic side of the game. There's a coach that teaches the game. I have some private lessons for him with another kid that they go and they just shoot. So there's a lot of things that you have to worry about. Look, if tomorrow he says, I don't want to do it, I'm fine with it. But if he says tomorrow, I don't want to play any more soccer because I'd rather play video games, I get crazy with that.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's the instant gratification that is going to steal. It's going to rob you away from something more beneficial later. Because through soccer, guys, I'm serious. It's not only the team sports is not only for their personal development. Is the synergy. It's being able to lose. It's being able to win. Understanding why winning is important. Understanding why losing is important. Understanding when somebody's out there and he's crying. Well, I saw it when they went to Barcelona. These guys got tight. They shared the room, right? They were in the hotel. They were eating together. You see that it's being part of a team is something good. We're social animals, right? We're social beings with a lot of group loyalty. And I find that everybody should at least expose their kids to that. If it doesn't work out, it's fine, but everybody should be a part of that.
I never did the team sports.
Well, yeah, look at the results, man.
Yeah. We used to always play outside a lot too. Like, I honestly, sometimes I still question it today. I'm like, why didn't my dad want me to do team sports? I'm not sure why. Honestly, I don't know. And I don't know if it was financial or if it was anything else, and I remember wanting to play soccer. I mean, all you guys used to play soccer, and I wanted to be in the team, and my dad was like, no, forget about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he was worried about that environment. I don't know.
Maybe getting hurt.
I don't know.
I'll tell you this. I'll end with this. I'm not saying this to discredit schools or to denigrate schools. It's not my point. But there's a lot of learning through sports, guys. Yeah. There's a lot of life learning, like the principles of living. Yeah. All the principles are there. The jealousy, the envy, the revenge, the hate, the joy, everything. Every game is an opportunity to learn.
You find your X factor too.
Yeah. And I think, you know what? Like I said, I'm not saying this to discredit schools. It's just the learning is done differently. And don't forget, with a coach, you learn hierarchy. You learn this. You follow a leader. You follow somebody who leads first. You follow somebody that's done it.
Is it different? Right? Is it different now than it used to be back in the day when you were playing soccer or football? Like the coaching, the lessons, the techniques, because I mean, come on, I'm not gonna say names, but there's been some.
I don't want to know. Don't make me say names. Don't do that. Well, look, obvious. Guys, it depends.
We all grew up around the same league, so I know which names you guys must be taking.
Of course, we all know what we're talking about, right? Yeah. It depends on how serious it is. Like before he joined Puma, which is the Barcelona team, let's say, the team that goes and represents internationally. Like the coach, the team had a conversation with us. We're doing this to be competitive. We're doing this. This is what we want from you. This is what's required. Like you basically have a set of rules that you need to abide by, or else you're out. Yeah. So that makes it very clear. But if you're just playing soccer the way I did, just to play, for me, it was just to try and lose some weight. Right, or to try and keep active. That's a different mindset. That's why I agree with George when he says, if they're having fun, let them have fun. Yeah, it depends. You know, if the whole point is to have fun and to kill time and to just be out of the street and maybe not in front of a screen, that's a whole different paradigm, right? But once you enter, let's say, a team, well, the premise changes now. Now you're responsible to yourself, to your parents, to other parents. Like you cannot have a position that just didn't show up because he didn't feel like it.
Right.
And the other thing that's good is that it makes them manage their time and their priorities. I'm never going to accept I didn't have time to do my homework because I had a game. No. You had a game. You knew you had a game. Figure out how to prioritize and do your homework. Right. So I'm a big advocate of that. Big proponent of soccer, team sports, and being part of something bigger than yourself. But at the same time, it's like you cannot let them quit because kids will quit everything. They'll quit everything and anything.
But wait, you didn't answer the question in terms of the coaching, and we're not. Yeah. We're not going to name names, but
oh man, why are you going back there?
No, because
I totally avoided your question. You didn't.
No, but because what I want to know, because look, as a parent, then like in the 80s, 90s, growing up, when you know who the people were around the leagues and who which people were in charge of your kids and everything.
It's the answer to the question why your dad didn't want you to join.
Maybe that's
pointless, right? You can learn more with a rock in the lane.
Right. So versus now where, I don't know, maybe they're much more competent. Maybe they've had training. Maybe they have like some coaching certification, and that sending your kid there, he's going to be accompanied, and he's going to be around the people with the mindset that are going to coach him, discipline him, and
George, you rephrased the question a lot better. So I'm going to answer that. Okay, It was better. So what you're alluding to is this: coach material. It's almost better and worse. It's better in the sense that, yes, you're right. There's more certification. They go through a lot of personal development, a lot of emotional intelligence training. They're there to understand kids. They're there and they're trained how to give comments and how to do it the right way to keep encouraging. What are you laughing?
Oh, because we said they know how to give comments. I just got a picture of like in the 90s where the coaches were blasting you on the field.
I've got in Trexa Quadrana Capsig. Today,
run fat guy so you can burn off fat.
That's right. That's what I got. You don't get that today.
Of course.
So you don't get that today. But think about this. This is where I lose it. This is why it's a little bit not sad, but it's a little disappointing because coaches are a little bit more trained. They're better geared to give the information, but the kids don't respect the hierarchy as much as they used to back then. So back then you had the respect of the hierarchy and respecting your elders.
So even if you were yelled at, you would still kind of put your head down.
That's right. And now that the coaches they're better at giving the information, meaning that you could absorb a lot more, they have a little bit of an issue with discipline, and they're not as respectful. You know what I mean? They're decent, but they're not respectful. Yeah. And sometimes it could sway. But with repetition, you know what? It gets better. That's what I'm trying to say. It gets better. But you know what? You can't expect them on the first time to start acting like that. That's why I'm saying it takes time. And in kid years, 3 sessions means nothing. It's too short.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. George, you don't have in any sports?
Yeah, I used to play soccer.
Not you, your kids.
Do they do any sports?
Yeah. Team
yeah,
sport.
Yeah. Well, my oldest does kung fu before this. Kung fu 3 times a week. Basketball on Friday and swimming on Sunday.
Yeah, we do the swimming too.
He was busy 5 times a week with sports.
Yeah, awesome. Amazing.
He loved the basketball. It was the newest thing. It was this. We were starting the second session when we went into the COVID. But it was a new dynamic, and he started gravitating towards it and away from the kung fu as the team sport dynamic was something more for him. But again, it wasn't as competitive as what Chris is describing. It's basically it would be 45 minutes of training, exercises, different drills and stuff, and then 20 minutes of intra-squad scrimmage. Purple versus red, then purple versus green, then green versus red, and then you go home, you know? No set teams, no anything. You just practice. You try to apply what you've learned today, and some drills. And he was picking up really fast, man. He was really liking it.
Yeah, I think back sometimes, and I think it still bothers me that because I was a very active kid. Like I didn't always look like what I look like now, right? I mean, we were very active. We used to play all the time, and I don't think I was that bad either. I think that had I joined like at an early age, I could have developed into like a major athlete.
And I just
maybe
is that a video game behind you, Chris?
No, YouTube.
Okay.
We watch YouTube so we can watch other gamers play video games, so we can get tips on how to go and win. Right?
Look, man, you
can't find the hidden objectives.
George, that's another thing, man. Another thing that's different when we were doing sports and growing up is that, let's say I did have a talent. Let's say, all right. If I did have a talent, my parents were blind to that. Our parents were blind to that, meaning that
they didn't care.
There was no way they were going to encourage this and see where it got, right?
It's today, outside of their motto.
Well, yeah. Today, I find parents are more willing to at least consider it. So it's like if they see a little bit of talent, they are going to go and do the hockey practice. They are going to wake up at 5 a.m. They are going to, you know what I mean? They're going to put in the time and effort needed for that that 1 out of, 1,000 chance that their kid does something well. Right. That's a different mindset as well. That's a different mindset that our parents didn't have. Well, at least mine didn't. And I think your parents didn't either, right?
No, at all.
It wasn't an option. It wasn't like, okay, lawyer, engineer, doctor, hockey player. It wasn't a part of the options, right? Yeah. I think that's changing today. I see a lot of parents invest a lot in their kids.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, why not? And this could be in sports. This could be in music, maybe in acting.
Yeah.
Right?
Because our parents didn't want to spare us. This generation's parents want to spare their kids.
Well, our parents were the red pill generation, my friend.
Yeah. There's no sparing. Go to school and break your head. Break your head and learn. Break your head and learn. Literally, that's the word.
No blue pill from my parents. No blue pill. Zero blue pills.
Sit down and break your head and learn. That was the line.
Yeah. Cut and dry, man. It was simple. It was to the point.
But there's some people that I know that they thought they were like the big singers and the big actors and that sort of thing, and it's like when is someone going to tell you that you suck? You know what I mean? Like when? When, and it dragged on years and years. And it's like,
you see, that is probably a person that has never got a hit or a touch of reality. So everyone's afraid to give it to them because it will break them.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by you got to practice these things, because the world is going to punish. So you got to give it to them in dosages, man.
Because you also have the other side, right? You have also the side where they're told, "Oh, man, you suck." I don't know, but in their mind, they're like, "You're stupid. You know what you're talking about. I'm good."
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't know about man. I'm sorry.
No, George. When it gets to the look, you can get to a time where you really want something. You're motivated by it, right? You're motivated to take action. You're inspired, and then you're smart enough to know that what you want to go get is far, but you have your goals. You're going to put the effort in. It's okay to lie to yourself then. You have to be a liar then. You gotta practice, learn optimism, and be optimistic until. But now you're older, so you're basically lying to yourself, and you're not going to succeed until you stop believing the lie. Once you stop believing the lie, you don't succeed. Yeah. But that's fine. As you're growing up, though, you can't be that delusional.
No, exactly.
Because then it will never give you that chance to be that later on.
No, exactly. But what I'm saying is that when you're at that later on stage, and people are telling you, I don't know, maybe you should get some lessons, or maybe you're like hinting that you weren't good or that you're not good, and you're still thinking, what are you talking about?
Of course, I don't know. Can you give me a concrete example?
I'm not going to give you.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I get it, man. But you know what it is? But think about it, man. In that person, I don't know who you're talking about, but that kind of person.
I think I know what he's talking
about. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people, and that's not a bad thing. A lot of people, I'm like that way too. I don't take advice from somebody that I wouldn't switch places with. If I would switch places with you, I'll take your advice. If I wouldn't, or if I refute your lifestyle, or if I don't think what you think is successful and I think is successful, if it's not the same thing, I won't take it. I'll take the warning. I'll listen to the thought, but I won't take the advice.
Yeah.
It's the same thing right now with, like, I'll give a bad example, but like your mom, right? Like, or my mom, right? My mom was a secretary. She never made more than $1,200 a month. Let's say I want to go make $1 million. I can't take her advice. I can't rely on $1,200 a month thinking. No. And that's not a bad thing. It's just the way it is. Yeah. You guys agree?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's like, who's giving you the advice? Who's giving you the criticism? Is it a mentor? Is it just a friend? Is it a friend who's jealous? Is it a friend that never made it and wants you to not make it? Like, who are you listening to? Who are you modeling yourself after? So sometimes you're right. It is delusional, but sometimes it could be helpful not to listen to people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as long as you have the presence of mind to kind of reflect, like the way you just described, right? Because if you're thinking that I'm going to be a star and whatever, I don't know, I'm going to be a millionaire, or I'm going to be the most successful businessman or businesswoman, and you're just stuck in the dream. At some point, I think that you have to be able to kind of
you're right.
Right? Like
this is the thing when it comes to talent. When it comes to talent, this is the thing. You can be extremely talented and never make it.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
You know I mean, like, I'm going to give an example: is the NFL and the CFL. The CFL players are incredible fucking athletes.
Mm-hmm.
They're just missing this little hair to just cross over to that 1% of the population. They're just missing that edge.
Yeah.
Should these guys have stopped? Should they have noticed that little edge was missing? No, they shouldn't have, because they were so close. They should have kept pushing as much as they could, because they were that fucking close.
And just to add to that, sorry, go ahead.
No, the people that George is describing, they weren't that close.
No, of course not. But they thought
they were. Well, talent will get you through the door. But once you get to the point where everyone's as talented as you, then it's hard work.
Hard work and discipline.
You could outwork the most talented guy, but you cannot out-talent the most working guy, the hardest working guy in the room.
Yeah.
And that's a principle. Anybody says it, from the Michael Jordans, any kind of highly, like, I'm talking about the stratospheres of success. It's always that. The talent will get you there. Think about it, right? Messi and Ronaldo, right? Let's take that example. That's talent. But after a while,
2 out
it's
of
who,
7 billion.
Yeah, but who works harder now? It's like, I got to work hard. I got to be first and I got to leave last. And then obviously the other guys that they're still there. They're still like in the league, but they're not Ronaldo and they're not Messi.
Nope.
So it will get you through the door, but the hard work, people forget the formula has the hard work. It's talent plus hard work plus preparation plus luck, blah, 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 will equal the result.
Discipline.
Yeah, and discipline is in there, man.
Go to bed, don't eat like a pig, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, of course. And now it's hard. I know it's hard. But what were we saying?
People being delusional, that's what.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So for parents keeping their kids delusional.
Yeah.
And parents themselves being delusional about who their kids are.
You got to keep it real, man.
And I understand that it may be hard.
This is my principle with having fun. Keep encouraging it if they're enjoying it. If they think they're great when they're not, you should have a talk with them.
But look, I can understand that parents are in that, in that space because they always want to protect their kids and they're always going to be the most supportive people. And sometimes I disagree with that.
You have to.
Like, I don't know, maybe it's because, like you said, Chris, we grew up with not having necessarily the most supportive atmosphere, right? It was like, shut up and, do this or do that. And it's
it wasn't about the shut up. It's basically prove it to me before you have to prove it to me.
But don't forget, exactly. And there's I'm the same way. Look, we shouldn't conflate support with just encouraging blindly.
Yeah.
Encouraging blindly is one thing. Supporting is another. Supporting, you support when it's positive. You support when it's negative. You could
when
be
you
like,
believe in it.
Yeah, you could sometimes back away and say, you know what, you figure this one out on yourself. So supporting is just being there as and providing guidance. You're not there to absorb everything. You're not there to fight your kids' battles. You're not there to absorb all the pain. You're there to guide. When things happen, you're just that little message. Here it is. And I find it's a big difference between supporting and just encouraging. I find a lot of parents just encourage blindly.
Yeah,
my kid's the best, and then when they tell them it's not, they get offended because they find that it's a representation of them failing, and it's not true. If my kid sucks at soccer, it has nothing to do with me. It's just like the bad grade stuff. When your kid gets a bad grade, most parents get offended. Don't get offended. It's not you. It's your kid. How do you help him?
Yeah.
So the support can come in different formats.
Like, look, I'll give you an example with what happened to me, because I used to do the Greek dances from a very young age, and I hated it. I never liked it. Like, I mean, which kid at the age of 6, 7, 8 years old wants to, spend his, once or twice a week dance? Like, but my parents were just so adamant. I don't know if it was like this personal thing for them. It was like, oh, you're gonna go learn. It's our traditions and it's our stuff and it's our dance, our folk stuff. And it was
Sunday.
There was like no ifs or buts. It's like, you're going, and I wanted to leave so bad. Like, this is years. We're not talking about just 1 or 2, 3 years now.
Yeah.
This is
until the age of 15.
Until really much later, when I got into it. Like, I was probably like in high school, like end of high school, where I really, really got into it. And I joined like a professional troupe, and we used to travel around a little bit too for to different festivals. That's where it became fun. But I look back, and if I were my parents, I'd be like, look, man, the kid hates it. Like, just, okay, stop.
You see, just to put a little perspective, if your parents let you quit, you wouldn't have 30, 40 people around you when you dance clapping. You wouldn't have the memories of doing the theatrical stuff and dancing in the troupe and all that stuff you did. Yeah. You see how important it is. Why? Because they were able to tell you, don't quit now so you can enjoy it later.
Yeah,
that's the beauty, man. That's exactly what you said. That's what it is. It's something you can't listen to your kids. They don't know any better.
No.
There's a reason we take care of them, because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You see, like, look how many memories you've made, how many friendships that came out of that.
Yeah.
And it could have been all taken away from you if your parents just said, yeah, forget it, don't go back. Boom. That's simple.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not sure my parents kind of thought or knew that was going to lead to where it led, right? I think for them, it was just a matter of, you're going to go learn because that's what you're going to do, and because you're still at that age where I can tell you what to do.
They wanted you to carry your culture with you.
And that's fine, but you can do that. I mean, a couple of years, okay, you learn how to dance, they clap, they have the videos, they have the pictures, and it could have ended because we were just like banging ourselves on the floor. I just didn't want to.
Anywhere you can be, you gotta be. Once you're there, just take the information, man. Just, you know what I mean? That's what's important. If you're there, be there. That's what I tell my kid. If you're there, just be there. Even if you hate being there, be there. Take it in, absorb it. Right?
Never lose the lesson.
Because that's a generation of just getting through the day. The 10, 11-year-olds today is getting through. Oh, if it's not fun, it's not. But you gotta get them. You gotta get them to get through the day.
Yeah.
And learn from the day, not only get through it, right? That's the whole point, George. You see what you just said, man. You hit it on the nail there.
Yeah.
It's like years later, and it's those are still memories. Those are still friendships. And it was so easy to quit. And that could have been dancing. It could have been guitar playing for someone else. It could have been drum lessons for someone else. It could have been a theater. It could have been scouts. I was a scout. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved being in the scouts.
Yeah.
I still see people that I was in the scouts with.
See, this is the other thing. My cousins were in the scouts. I had friends that were in the scouts. They were all together. They were all doing all those camping trips and all those things. And I wanted to do it. My parents, no, you're not going to do it. You don't have to be there. You don't have to be there. Trust me. You don't. Why? I don't get it.
They talked you out of it.
Yeah, he's like, no. Team sport.
No, I think that one was pricey though.
The scouts was pricey. I don't know.
Compared to like playing soccer, soccer was pretty cheap.
Well, yeah, don't forget, man. It's also like you got to think like I hate using this word because it's very loosely used today, but I was privileged in the sense that I was an only kid. So I did baseball, I did football, I played hockey, I tried this, I tried soccer. I kind of did it. I was exposed to everything, and then I kind of chose what I liked, right? In a family of maybe 3, 4 kids, 5 kids, if everybody decided to do whatever they wanted to do, it wouldn't work out.
Especially back in
you wouldn't be able to make rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know what? It's understanding to think that maybe all the options weren't there.
Yeah. I think scouting, my father probably felt that he could teach us way more than the other people.
And he probably could, man. He probably could. Probably could.
But from all the sports, I think you played soccer most, no?
Soccer and baseball. But baseball was very young. I started with T-ball. I did 5 years of baseball and 4 years of soccer. I did a little bit of hockey one season. And then I did one season with football with Jimmy Rooney and Patricio Toni. We did like a season.
You never went
I was a scout. I did guitar. You know what I mean? I did trumpet at a point with the Philharmonic. You remember that? I got involved, man. I like being involved. And till this day, I do a lot of things. I like being involved. I like being involved.
I played sports every day, but the only league I ever joined was soccer.
Yeah, but you did the drums. Yeah.
Well, that was again. It was all. I never followed something. I did it myself. Like I played tennis against the wall by myself. Basketball courts were across the street at the schoolyard. I played all day by myself. Soccer was with whoever was in the schoolyard. I played soccer all day. Baseball with the same group of guys. We played baseball, we played basketball, we played football, and it was from one day to the next. It was a different sport, but it was never with coaches or anybody. It was just us organizing it between ourselves.
Yeah,
it's a nice thing not to be bored. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I question a lot, the years to come. And I mean, you, Chris, you probably have more experience because your kid is older, but you reflect on the way you grew up, right? Where you came home, the first reflex was drop the bag, grab the bike, and get out, right? Or grab the hockey stick and go in the lane. You know what I mean? That was our first reflex. But
I think it was go to the fridge first.
Yeah, fridge. Dude, it was definitely fridge, 2 yogurts, quick, 2 yogurts, one after the other. That was the first thing.
Fruit juice, good.
So then the hockey stick.
And now it's like, and again, I don't know, I can't relate. I just feel like boys are much more in that mindset.
It's just because you can relate to it more. That's why.
It's the video game. It's all these things. My daughter, she's like, oh, okay, let me play the Mario Kart on your phone, and it's like hours.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I'm a little, I don't know. I don't want to say worried, but at the same time, I also don't find like that I push enough either. It's like maybe I'm to blame. Maybe I should wake up and say, all right, let's go. We're spending the day in the park, or let's do this. I'm not like that, right? And
I'm writing a little blog on screen time. I did a little research on that.
On what?
on screen time, managing your kids' screen time, and I think we should cover it next time.
Yeah,
it's an important issue, man.
Yeah,
my son during this thing, he's become a television junkie, man.
It's an important thing, guys.
Source of argument.
Oh man, it is. And you know what, George? Just to get back to what you were saying, how we came in, went to the fridge, and then took our hockey stick. Well, I'm trying to kind of reenact that with him, and I'm setting the tone for that. And now it's summer, so I'm getting a lot of people in the lane. There's a lot of.
One thing about us is like you grab your stick and you went to meet 20 other kids.
Yeah.
They're not hanging out outside.
Well, now we're lucky here because it's my lane. It's where I grew up, and there's a lot of kids.
Okay.
There's a lot of kids. So if the kids are out, he's out. Right? Unless he's working on his drills, he's doing something that he has to do, which is a priority. If the homework is done, drills are done, there's no soccer practice, you're out playing here. The video games is just to maybe cool off a bit, just to decompress.
Which is a good thing, man, because I think that's what got us to go out, right? When you go home and you see like 3-4 kids outside, you're like, okay, I'm coming out. Give me a second. Now there's kids aren't even out.
I love it. I hear Cristo. Can Gerasimo come out and play? You know how good that makes me feel.
Yeah, man. It's like back.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. But you know, back in the day, I mean, we were organized without even knowing we were organized, right? Yeah. Like, just to go back to what George was saying, we'd grab our stick, we had a meeting point, and then it was like, okay, Delepi versus like Bloomfield.
We're carrying the nets.
Yeah. You represented your lane or your street.
Yeah. Like where we grew up, now there's a park on the corner of Beaumont and Delepi. Yeah. There wasn't always a park there. When we grew up, it was empty. It was an empty, like, I guess it was at some point it was a parking lot, but it wasn't used. They had like the cement, the cinder block, like blocks all around, like nobody could go in. So it was the perfect little arena for us. We were there all the time, you know. And then the park.
That was the best school, George. That was like
nobody was. But it was crazy, though. You know, it's okay. Where are we playing tonight? It's okay. We're going to Champagneur, or, you know, we're going to that parking lot, or we're going down to Ball. And it was just, you know, a group of 10 kids, 15 kids, like you said, with the nets on the shoulder.
Yeah. You know, but the other thing is it exposed you to real problems. The bullying, the older kids picking on you, the losing, somebody trying to steal your stuff. So what happened is we dealt with all that ourselves.
Yeah. You were responsible.
The kids now, anything happens to them, they run to you because it's like they're just used to solving everything for them. So it's like, go solve it.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of more of an autonomy, man.
But it's also, you know, I mean, look, how much do you trust your kid now at the age of 8, 9, 10, 11 to wake up in the morning and come back home like at 7 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m.? Are you worried?
No.
See?
Yeah.
We used to do that.
Yeah, it's different.
You know what I mean? That's why.
But we also had more watchdogs. The neighborhood had more watchdogs.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like my mom
were there.
Yeah. There was like 3-4 key members of the neighborhood that it's like, is he okay? Everybody would be kind of watching on everyone else's kids. Today, everyone's kind of in their own little bubble.
No, they're very protective. The parents are like, no, forget, you're not going out. Let's stay in, and we don't know who those people are. You go to the park. Okay, well, forget it today. We'll go together on Saturday or whatever. It's a problem.
Different times.
Problem. It's just a completely different mentality. You know, like I remember being in at that park that I told you in the corner, and I knew it was time to go home because my father would open the window and start whistling. That was the call. He was whistling. Like, it's my dad. I gotta go. Like,
there was only 2 things that brought me back home. I was hungry, or I had to do a number 2. Anything else I could do in the corner.
It was.
You wouldn't go home to pee? You're right. Just number 2. Number 1 was anywhere, wherever. It was your friend's yard. It was in your friend's yard. And you would tell him, "Don't tell your mom."
Why wouldn't you just go in the kid's house? Use your bathroom. Hey, Joey, can I use your bathroom or whatever?
There's no time, man. There's no time for that.
I think somebody wanted to come say hi.
Where is he?
He always comes, Philip.
Yeah, he has a sense. He's like, he senses.
Yes. You should be our next guest. Hey, Philip.
Say hello.
How are you?
Show me you lost a second tooth. Yeah?
A second tooth you lost.
No way.
He's missing two. One is growing.
Ask your dad for $50. That's worth $50.
I'm wearing the headset. Thank God. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
You guys, I'm taking a risk saying this because I may be the only one that did it, and I'll be like the weirdo here. But I'm still gonna say, did you guys ever do those the peeing on the wall next to your friend? Like, who's gonna make the biggest mouth?
Yeah.
I was always the tallest. So
that's the weirdest thing you've done.
No, I'm saying, what if I say I haven't done it? I'm like a weirdo. Okay.
Yeah.
We would stand side by side and try to spell out our names on dry concrete there or dry asphalt, trying to make lines and control the sport.
You know what I remember, guys? I remember there was always this off kid that would show up in the lane with his karate uniform and he would get a beating. He would just get a beating for showing up with a karate uniform.
Or that kid that was visiting somebody and he was wearing like clean dress shoes and like a white pair of shorts.
you just have to pick on that kid.
And he'd always go back crying.
Like my cousin that came to visit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Good times.
It was good times, man. See, these are the things that worry me sometimes. It's like, why are they not out, you know?
Yeah. You're not raising better kids by removing all these situations.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I don't know. I passed by park, like even Halloween. You notice Halloween, like it's dead now. And back in the day, you know,
Well, don't forget that's a lot of cultures that don't celebrate it, right? Like where I'm from, where I live, a lot of cultures don't celebrate it.
Yeah, but the kids know about it, man. Like you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I even know Greek kids that don't celebrate Halloween. They're not allowed to go out on Halloween, man. I know kids that go to Socrates.
Buy them a 150-piece box of candy in here.
You don't celebrate Halloween, man. It's not like a religious thing. It's just a fun activity with your kid. Dress him up and go out, man.
Well, it's not a religious thing, but if you're very religious, it kind of hits a nerve.
Yeah. But I'm sure there's also the fact that, you know, it comes back to what we're saying, that trust factor, right? It's like, what? Walk down the streets taking food from people? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We're closing our lights too. Nobody's ringing our bell, and if they do, nobody answer.
Yeah. You see, my parents were the party poopers when it came to Halloween. Like to a certain age, they would take me, and after that, it would just fuck it. And it would be the people that would close the lights, close the blinds, and pretend no one's home.
Really?
You know?
Yeah,
they were like, yeah.
Oh man. No, we always participated. My parents always gave out candy, but there was a lot of kids. Dude,
did they buy you costumes?
No,
we would make them.
I would make mine.
My dad used to make them until maybe I don't know, the age of 8, 9, 10.
Guys,
I had some creative ways and some pretty good stuff.
Guys, the first costumes we had, I remember we went out, me, Angelo, and Jimmy, the Thomases, right? The Thomas brothers. And I was Superman. There was a Batman and I think a Spider-Man, but it wasn't the mask.
Batman.
No,
Superman
listen.
Costume?
It was Batman. No, it was Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man, and it was just a plastic thing with an imprint on it. It was just a plastic thing. It wasn't. It was just a little string with a plastic thing.
Yeah.
Over your winter jacket. Yeah. Over your winter jacket. You had a logo. That was your costume.
That's it. That was it, man. That was it.
See, another problem with Halloween. It has nothing to do with that. It's about scary shit. It had to be about scary shit.
Yeah, I know.
You would always you do the scary stuff.
I try to. If I found like a set of teeth or something, I try to be a vampire or shit like that.
Yeah.
Or make myself like a zombie. And try to like wear old fucked up clothes, tear them up, look like I came out of a grave or something.
Kids love Halloween, man. You know what? We should have a Halloween party this year.
We should.
All the adults Halloween. Dress?
All the adults.
Oh yeah.
But
okay.
We should do that.
We should do it. Hold on. We should do it. We should do it. You're right. But we should all make a costume like we made when we were kids.
No.
Remake something you already made.
I'm not making.
Tell me what you made when you were back then.
No, man. We're at the point where
I have a good one. I'm gonna win.
I I think Nectar has a good one.
The one I made for him. That's proof of how good I am at making them. That's proof of how good I am at making them. Do not discuss the content of that.
I won't. But we should definitely have a Halloween party. Definitely. I miss it. It's something I want to do. It's like on a bucket list. I gotta go to a kick-ass Halloween party.
Yeah. I was acting like I was too good for them.
Yeah.
People would invite me and say you have to get dressed, and I wouldn't go.
Because you have to
Yeah.
The thing is, I sweat in costumes, man. I hate costumes. I sweat in them.
Bro, you sweat.
Once I wear a costume, it's done. I can't wear it again. I can't even give it away.
You should lather your whole body in deodorant.
Now that you mentioned the sweating in a costume, I can't remember whose wedding it was that we were groomsmen.
Chris's.
No, it wasn't Chris. It was someone else. I can't remember. Anyway, and we rented suits, like we rented tuxes and shit. And that wedding, I think it was Peter Gazzetta's wedding. And that night, I took out my suit, and it was drenched. Like the sweat had gone through even to the jacket was wet.
It was a salty outline of your sweat line.
I don't know what it was. Disgusting. I got because it was in a hotel, so we all stayed there afterwards. And the way I took out the whole thing, I put it back in the bag. I zipped it, and that's how I brought it. Like I'm like, there's no way. I feel bad, honestly, for the person that opened that bag, but it was drenched, man, from fucking head to toe. The jacket, everything. It was disgusting.
My worst experience was at my wedding with Chris Papacosta. I hugged him, and the guy splashed. Like I went like this, and he splashed people. People moved away.
Slats. That's what happens when you get married in the summer, man.
Yeah.
That's why I chose an October wedding.
All right.
You did. It was October.
Yeah, it was perfect weather.
All right.
Us two, we got married in October.
August 18th for me.
Yeah.
So, you guys, is that enough?
Yeah, let's end it there. Just a little reminder, like Chris said, we are preparing. We're thinking of creating a blog that we're going to have available on our website. Let us know what you think. We really want to make this your one-stop shop about parenting and about being good dads and everything around raising a family. So let us know what you think.
And if there's a topic we haven't touched that you'd like to bring forward,
if there's anything that you're interested in, if you want to hear talk about it, maybe these are experiences that we've been through, or maybe we haven't, and we're just questioning how it might be. Who knows? Let us know. Send us your little comments, and stay tuned. We are preparing that blog for you. Hopefully, it'll bring you value. That's it. We're also looking into some other interesting guests that we can bring on for you. And I think that's pretty much it, boys. Anything else?
No, man. We're good.
All right, boys. So we'll see you all on the next episode. Again, subscribe and follow us on all platforms. Turn on those notifications, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys.
Adios.
Bye, guys. Ciao.